In the heart of North Sumatra, there lived a humble man named Toba. Toba was a simple, hard-working man, living alone in a small hut beside a river. He spent his days fishing and farming, hoping to make a living, but he often returned empty-handed. His heart was heavy with the struggle, and he longed for companionship and a better life. One morning, after 2 days of unsuccessful fishing, Toba cast his line into the river. "Please, today let the river bless me," he prayed softly. To his amazement, he felt a strong tug on his line. Slowly he reeled in the catch, and to his surprise, a beautiful fish with shimmering golden scales surfaced. Its eyes sparkled like pearls, and its graceful movements mesmerized him. "What kind of fish is this?" Toba wondered aloud. He carefully removed the hook, but just as his fingers touched the fish, a miracle occurred. The fish transformed into a beautiful woman. Her long black hair flowed like silk, and her skin shone with a soft radiance. She smiled gently. "Do not be afraid, Toba," she said. "I am a princess who was cursed to live as a fish. Because you have saved me, I wish to become your wife. But there is one condition. You must never tell anyone my true identity. If you break this promise, misfortune will befall us both." Toba, enchanted by her beauty, agreed without hesitation. "I promise," he said. The two married and lived happily. Their life was simple, yet filled with love. Toba's wife, however, remained a mystery, never speaking of her past, and always wearing the traditional Batak clothing. They had a son, whom they named Samosir. As the boy grew, he became healthy, but had an insatiable appetite. No matter how much Toba worked, he could never seem to provide enough food for Samosir. One day, Toba's wife prepared a large basket of food to send to Toba in the fields. "Samosir," she called, "take this food to your father. He must be starving, but remember, do not eat it on the way." Samosir promised not to eat the food, but the temptation was too great. As he walked to the field, the smell of the food filled the air, and he couldn't resist. Under a large tree, he opened the basket and ate. When he arrived at the field, Toba eagerly opened the basket, only to find it half empty. His face turned red with anger. "Samosir!" he shouted. "Why did you eat my food? Didn't your mother give you this to bring to me?" Samosir stood frozen, his heart racing. I'm sorry, father," he stammered. Toba's anger intensified. "You are a fish's child. I cannot believe you would betray me like this." Samosir's eyes filled with tears as he ran home. His father's words stung, and the guilt weighed heavily on him. When he arrived home, his mother saw his tear-streaked face and rushed to him. "Mom," Samosir cried, "father called me a fish's child. What does that mean?" Toba's wife's face turned pale. She realized that the promise had been broken. She pulled Samosir close, her tears mingling with his. "My child, the time has come," she whispered. "We must leave." The sky darkened, and a violent storm descended upon the village. The wind howled, and lightning flashed across the sky. The rain came down in torrents, and the river swelled rapidly. The floodwaters began to rise, quickly engulfing the land. Toba's wife and Samosir stood in the center of their home, watching in horror as the water rose higher and higher. "We cannot stay here," she said, her voice trembling. "The water is coming. We must go." But the water was rising too quickly. The ground beneath them gave way as the house slowly sank into the rising flood. Samosir clung to his mother, but the water was relentless, sweeping them away. They disappeared into the floodwaters, leaving nothing but devastation in their wake. As the storm raged on, the valley was consumed by water. The villagers fled, scrambling to escape the rising tide. The once peaceful river now roared, its waters churning with fury. The storm seemed endless, but when it finally passed, only a vast lake remained where the village once stood. This lake would come to be known as Lake Toba, and in its center stood a small island which would later be called Samosir Island. The legend of Lake Toba lives on in the hearts of the people of North Sumatra, serving as a timeless reminder of the consequences of broken promises and the deep, enduring power of love and sacrifice. This tale of Toba, his wife, and their son, Samosir, teaches us the importance of honoring our commitments, for even the smallest betrayal can lead to unimaginable consequences.